Tell us your name, what are you running for, and why you decided to run.
Well, hello.
Again.
Again, yes. Hello. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you all today. My name is Esther Manheimer. I am running for re-election as mayor of the city of Asheville. And I'm running again because it's a job I love and a city I love. And I've had the honor to do it this far, and I'm hoping the voters will support me to do this for a few more years.
What are the qualities that a mayor needs to be effective? Mention a strategy and mindset that you intend to use in this position. And finally, what is the main challenge that you foresee in this role going forward?
Okay. Compound question here. So I'm a lawyer, litigator, and would not do it that way. So I'm going to try to answer this question. Okay. Qualities, very important. So to me, the role of a mayor in North Carolina, because North Carolina doesn't have strong mayors. We have a council manager form of government, which means, the mayor doesn't alone get to do anything really, and works with a council and a management team to set policy for the city. So it's really important that a mayor be able to collaborate, communicate, build partnerships in the community, not just within your own council, but with the county, other municipalities, other lead organizations that partner with cities on a regular basis to be effective and get things done. I also play a role on a statewide basis. I'm a part of the Metro Mayors of North Carolina. I once chaired the Metro Mayors for North Carolina, and I was a lawyer in the legislature before I moved back to Asheville. So I have a lot of ties across the state with the governor's office, federally, whatever. You need to be able to have those relationships, maintain those relationships constantly if you're going to better position your city to be able to implement things that make positive change.
What are the biggest issues Asheville is facing now, and how would you prioritize those issues?
So that has definitely changed over the years, what the major issues are for Asheville. Since I've been in office, and I've been in since 2009, I've seen that ebb and flow. I will say one constant that is ratcheting up is affordable housing. Major issue in our city. I would also add, during the pandemic, I think we really saw some of our weaknesses laid bare. Challenges around resilience in our community, whether it's supporting small businesses, helping those who are struggling right on the edge of experiencing homelessness. Those are the kinds of challenges that I'm seeing really kind of exposed in a raw way that we haven't seen before.
Do you agree with defunding the police? And for sitting members, what have you done to promote the police?
No, I do not support the concept of defunding the police. I do support the concept of reimagining public safety. I think we have established that the same old is not effective for our city, our state, our country going forward, and there is a collective agreement around the need for change. Now, having said that, what we've seen is a tremendous drop of the numbers in our police department, and other cities have this experience as well, but ours is even more profound. So what we have done is raised police pay significantly. Starting July 1 of this year, we raised police pay all the way across the board, whether you're in training or you're just being sworn in, all the way through the ranks. And I've talked to the chief about that and whether or not we need to do more to help him recruit. We've also funded a recruiting agency to work with the police department to help bring police officers here to our community. I think that what I'm hearing from the police is you need to vocalize your support for us more. You need to be out in the community talking about how you support the police and that this is a team effort. I have tried to be better about that and being more conscientious about that. I do support the police, and I have said that. Behind the scenes, a lot of people don't know what the mayor does, but one of the things we do is swear in all the new cadets. I get the privilege of doing that. I also oversee their promotional ceremonies, administer their oaths, meet their families, thank their families. So that's something that I get to do as part of my job, and I've been doing. And and it also gives me a chance to see, where are these officers coming from? Our new class, about 10 folks this last time, they're from all over the U.S. And part of the reason they're coming here is because Asheville's awesome. And we need to stay awesome so we can continue to help recruit police officers to work here.
Makes sense. Do you support camping bans, panhandling bans, food permitting, or low barrier shelters? And what are some solutions you want to explore or implement regarding Asheville's issues with homelessness?
Okay, you asked a lot of different questions here. So my other part-time job right now is to study thoroughly all the issues that come into play with a homelessness crisis. I have personally been touring every facility in town that serves the homeless population, whether it's a behavioral health unit like BHUC, or whether it's our Code Purple over at Trinity. I have been talking with doctors at MAHEC. I have been meeting with providers and learning everything I can about this complex system that is not carefully coordinated and tied together. So what I have learned, the other thing I've been doing is interviewing other providers in other cities. I just met with a shelter operator for a high access shelter in Olympia, Washington. I met with the director of a facility in Raleigh, North Carolina that operates as a high access shelter, but also a long-term rehabilitation center. So let me just say this. So long as we have shelter capacity, I support enforcing the camping ban in Asheville. And I'll tell you why. It's because of safety. And it's not just because of safety for the people of Asheville, all the people of Asheville. When I say that, I'm including the people that have to live out on the streets. It is not safe for them. And I want them to be safe and I want them to be sheltered. So I've been monitoring how many shelter spaces we have. And as you know by now, all of our shelter spaces are operated by either nonprofits or faith-based groups. And we do have shelter capacity. Panhandling, you asked about that. I would like to see panhandling better enforced. I've talked to command staff, we've talked to them about it. This is a capacity issue. They need officers out there dealing with violent crime. That's number one. And that is what they're prioritizing, and they're making a difference there. So, it's the kind of thing where you got to prioritize and you've got to hire more officers to be able to enforce all those laws and those rules. And you know what, also, we need to ask people to help us out here. People need to make a decision every time if they're going to give money or food or anything to panhandlers, and they are, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be such a hot spot for panhandling, right? So that's a decision every individual needs to make, and we need partnership there to enforce those rules. And tell me what else you were asking about there, or maybe you want to move on. But
well, I have a personal question. That is, I noticed that there is a lack of transparency, so to say, or availability to knowing how many shelter beds are available at the moment, so to say. So when somebody is being displaced from an encampment, it's so hard to find where to take them, and so many people say, oh, there's nowhere for them to go. Has the city council and you as the mayor, have you thought about like a dashboard, a live dashboard, maybe in tandem with the pit count dashboard you have, that would do like live updates on beds that are available for the homeless? Not only that, but it would facilitate APD and being able to find those available shelter beds, and then also dispel the rumor that maybe at the time there were beds available, but people are saying there's not when there are. Mm-hmm. I just think that, there might be a better method to the madness for making it more available for everybody as a tool to kind of help with all of those things.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. I mean, I think you're talking about a real-time dashboard. A lot of the traditional shelters have a deadline for when you can get in, 7 o'clock or whatever it is, so you might not know until later. Part of the exploration around a high access shelter is that it would be 24/7. Really successful high access shelter models in other cities do know those numbers like you're talking about. And for example, the one in Raleigh trains the community paramedics themselves. So they have a working relationship. So community paramedics pick somebody up, it's midnight, they can transport them there. They know exactly how that system's gonna work and what the intake's gonna be. I think we're in need of something like that here, because a lot of our traditional shelters, whether it's Rescue Ministries or ABCCM, they've got curfews, they've got deadlines, they don't have capacity, but they'd be closed for the evening. So that's a big challenge. And so when someone says there's nothing available, it might not mean that there's not literally a bed there, it might mean it's past curfew.
Let's see, we are all aware of the tactic of intimidation used against the leadership in Asheville by a small group of people or groups. Many feel this intimidation hurts the majority of the neighbors who aren't as loud. Will you allow the activist and local groups to sway your decision making? And what can be done to reduce the influence of special interest groups overriding the needs and wants to the communities?
Yeah, this is something I thought about a lot, and I think it takes some maturing as a politician to figure this out. It is hard when there's a lot of yelling and you're trying to figure out, does this yelling represent the whole community or just a small part of the community? You really are trying to make decisions that reflect the majority of the community, but that can be distorted. What is the opinion of the community, especially with social media as well? So, where I've arrived is that activists play an important part. I think activists push the discussion, and when you look at the trajectory of change in America over the years, a lot of it was rooted in activism, and a lot of it created positive change. And so you can't just say activism doesn't have a place. It certainly does. But when you are the leader and you are the decision maker, you're not an activist, right? And you're also probably a compromiser, right? That's part of being a leader. So you've got to take all those opinions, put it together, and make a decision that best reflects where your community needs to go and where your community wants to go. So yes, personally, it is incredibly stressful to manage the kind of the way activism is sometimes displayed in the city. But most people aren't aware of that, and I can take it. I'm a big girl, and that's fine. I can make those decisions. So, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right. Somebody asked, what happened to the Community Watch program, and is there a plan for a replacement program? If so, what?
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure if that was a city-sponsored program or if that was more of a neighborhood-sponsored program, but I'd be glad to look and see. I will say, APD has launched, at the beginning of COVID, they launched a community engagement department. And a lot of what the thinking is there is that you've got to have community relationships to really fight crime and prevent crime. So that is an effort on the part of the city.
What is your personal view of affordable housing and the current approach to providing such housing, and how would you proceed if reelected?
Well, my current view is that there's not much affordable housing. I mean, that is a reality in Asheville, and we're seeing it dramatically tick up. We're seeing the highest average rents in the state of North Carolina right here in Asheville. There's a lot of debate about how to create more affordable housing. Some people say you've got to build a lot of housing. Some people say, you've got to impose regulations. Cities in North Carolina are limited. We can't put rent caps in place. There's a lot of things we can't do. But what the city has done is developed our own tools and our own toolbox to incentivize the building of affordable housing. And we're leveraging city-owned land into the construction of affordable housing. That's one place that we can control, and we can deed restrict our own land and engage with private developers to build land for the purpose of creating affordable housing. So that's one thing that we're doing. But we also have a robust affordable housing trust fund, and we fund a lot of projects that will serve folks providing affordable housing. Haywood Street Congregation most recently, and we've done several mountain housing opportunities projects, and we've also partnered with the Housing Authority to rebuild the oldest public housing neighborhood in Asheville, Lee Walker, which now serves twice as many units.
Do you agree that boards and commissions would be better off being reduced, or do you see value in those groups as they are?
I think this is kind of a both and answer. I see, first of all, let me just clarify. There are a lot of boards and commissions that are statutorily required. The proposal that you're seeing here to reduce the number of boards and commissions would not affect that. I mean, planning and zoning, those kinds of things, those are mandatory functions and would carry on. What's happened over the years is we've created a lot of boards and commissions that are focused on certain subject areas. And there are so many of them now, they're not able to be properly supported by the city and city staff. So they're doing work, but it's not clear where the work is going or any recommendations they make, whether or not they'll even be implemented. So what we're doing is we're trying to find a system where we are able to properly staff boards and commissions, and their work is going to directly feed in the pipeline that goes to city council. That's the goal.
Okay. And we're gonna leave on a final thought. So what would you like your constituents to know?
That I'm excited to run for mayor. I love Asheville. This has been a passion for me. It really is a dream come true to serve as the mayor of Asheville. So many people say to me, I would never want your job. But I don't know what it says about me, but I do love this job, and I love the city, and I love the people, and I love all things municipal, whether it's water, roads, potholes, building greenways, zoning issues, or challenging issues like racial justice or dealing with a homelessness crisis in the middle of a pandemic, something I never imagined I would be doing. But I think I want to give a heartfelt thanks to the people of Asheville that have trusted me in this leadership position.
Great. Thank you so much.